Hood Postman, City, Hood, Click. Let's go.
On this one, I'ma have to let it go on this one. Hood Postman, I'ma lock the door on this one. Putting in that labor and it's so intensive. Trying to change the game, gotta be inventive. It's all about sacrifice, but it's so expensive. And when I touch the pen, man, my soul get pensive. They telling all these stories, but they so ain't in it. They laughing to the bank, but they so long interest. And we just so different. Turning all our foes to friendships. Turning all our foes to kinships. Cause it's all about the family. We fighting this insanity, dealing with calamity. Under canopies, I'm thinking about peace, but they telling me it's a fantasy. On the other hand, we ain't never had an upper hand, so I understand that it's all about humanity. Putting truth in these lines, while they busy feeding lies. When you got that tunnel vision, gotta open up your eyes. Wake up and go to sleep. Man, I'm praying all times. And to my guys, ain't no other side. This for my brothers, I'ma pray with y'all shine. Lock the door. Go ahead, lock the door. Lock the door. Go ahead, lock the door. Yeah, you already know.
Depending on the lessons, some people eat, some people learn. But the game is going to send you big. Lock the door.
Lock the door. Shout out to the Mailroom Nation and the Mailroom Goons. I am Professor Melly Bell, the Hood Postman. Be sure to click the notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment down below. So when the dope content hit, it'll feel like it's the first and the 15th. Welcome to the mailroom, and come in, take a look at your mind, and examine what's in your heart. Go anywhere in the world to get a couple of lies, but you come right here to get the truth, and the truth you shall receive. It's not a glorification or a glamorization. It's always an education, and that's important to us. Get on the bus and let Fat Rat evolve. Take you to school. Shout out to the Fat Rat. What's going on with your child?
Go ahead. What's happening, my brother, man? You all right?
Man, I'm doing wonderful.
Don't
and
tell me
amazing.
you can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
How are you doing yourself?
Man, life is real, man. We're taking losses, man. Taking losses, man.
We're taking losses, man.
What they say,
Go ahead.
They say life be lifing. That's the new statement.
Mm-hmm.
Life is lifing. I'm trying to make sure. It sounds like I got a delay on my. Shouldn't be, though. Did they say life is lifing, man? I just lost one of my. When I was in that world and running them streets real hard, man, and going state to state, man. One of my main goons, Ohio players, man. He was cold dude, man. Just lost him.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy, man. We just, because we just lost another icon, a legend off the Eastside.
Yeah.
Actually ran with Raymond, ran with Tookie, ran with Mac Thomas, and all the other the big big guys. These was during the time when it wasn't even no rags. When Crips first came out, there was no rags, there was no definite colors or none of that. It was just, it was just come around in a group of individuals that came together for the common cause. But it is, let me say this, guys. It is big money in pointing out the negativity in Black culture. And that's across the internet, the news, the media, the liberal news, the other conservative news. And they will take a small portion, and hyper-focus it of the larger, they'll take it of the larger group of Black people and hyper-focus that little small portion of it, right? And it's the minority, right? And pretend that and act like that it represents the majority. And it's crazy how they do that each and every day. And we, as a people, some of us, not 11% of us, help to carry that weight. Other words, because the way they represent themselves and present themselves, and you see it day in and day out, especially on YouTube, right? Shout out to RDL, shout out to DJ Vegas, shout out to Marlena Williams, Postmaster General, and everybody, Mike Marks, and everybody else that's joining us for this live chat. What's going on? What's going on, people? Shout out to Larry Campbell as well. We lost another icon just recently. I mean, a guy that was again ran with the first resurrection, like what I like to call them, the guys that initiated this thing, right? And I don't think they ever intended to be what it is today. That's just my anecdotal opinion about it, because I was like, saw those guys and was there old enough to be around those guys, but not necessarily do what they did, right? And when I say a library, man, because I talked to James Compton on the phone before he passed, you know, and he didn't want to do no interview, but he would talk to me. And man, he had a lot of information, and you know, and he used to laugh sometimes because he would hear certain people say certain things, and he was like, they don't know what they talking about. That's what he would say, you know. Right. So rest in peace to James, Lil James Compton. I have that clip of him when he's when I went over there to visit the sidewalk. I'll show that just temporary right here. Let me pull that up right quick so you guys can see it, where it was 1972, and this was right here.
Isaac, AB, they go AB name, AB, Eastside Rules. How y'all doing?
This is 1972
okay,
Crip history.
This is 72 history right here. Yeah, this stuff was put in 72. And it's still here. They got Mad Dog, Moto. I don't know if y'all know any of these guys, but those are guys that used to run this whole area right here. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Eastside Crips. A couple of young ladies that passed by. And Marcellus name, Jack, Bandit. Look like, I don't know, Ronald. You got Ronald in there. There's a lot of names on here. A lot of names. Some you can't match. MD, Black, Lil James. And I don't want to miss nobody's names, but I just want to cover it as much as I could. Yeah, so it's the real East Side. Mad Dog, East Side.
So you saw Lil James' name was definitely there. I just wanted to point that out. But Fat Rat, you actually spent time with Lil James, right?
Yeah, man. I got a little bit of a Lil James story.
Okay.
Because so when I got to Jamestown in 1987, he was there, and he was the way I remember him, I didn't know him at the time, but you kind of acknowledged him because he was kind of like the biggest dude on the yard, right? Lil James buffed iron, man, literally, man, probably about 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And he would hang out by the chow hall because he always wanted to get, like, give me all them oranges and give me that bread and all of the things that go along with his workout, right? He was building himself up, you know what I mean? And that's how you remember him on the yard. He was a man of very little words. He would sit out on the yard after he buffed and just decompress and just make observations. You walk by him. What's that? He didn't like the aggression part. I never saw it, right? I never saw him aggressive when we was on the yard. So he got into a situation in this on the yard. Somebody actually tested him, right?
Oh shucks.
Somebody actually tested Lil James.
It's always gonna be one.
Why would you do that? Like, there's all these people out here if you want to experiment, right?
Right.
And it was a little dude, man. I don't know what the circumstance was, and I teased him about it when we was cellies, you know, because so he ended up getting rolled up, and really they rolled him up, I believe, because he was intimidating because of his size, not because of his mannerism. right? But it was because of his size, right? And the way he held it, I'm gonna tell you something. Like when the way he held it, it was like you could see that spirit of the original homeboys in him. Like it wasn't that he was making himself up to be nothing. He wasn't wearing a mask, right?
Uh-huh.
It was just him. I'm Lil James, right? It wasn't a mask. Like when I first got started, it was a mask on me, right? I wanted to
Uh-huh.
look to emulate being a certain way and different stuff like that. And when you looked at brothers like him, right? And I looked at him and I compare him to people like Rebo. You know what I mean? And I'm like, now you're not like Rebo, but Rebo this way, right? And Lil James is like calm, right? And at a certain point, if you don't respect the size, right, you'll get him twisted. That's how you would actually
Right.
be. If you don't respect the size on him because of his mannerism and his standoffishness, like he didn't really he didn't really deal with people too much, right? So anyway, long story short, he got rolled up for whatever that little incident was, and that's when they had just opened up the Tuolumne yard. That's before we had that full scale riot that we made the Mexicans and the whites sleep on the yard for 7 days, right? So when
Uh-huh.
so he's gone. He's off the scene, right? I go to the ASSEG. We call it the whole, but it's really just ASSEG, pending your 114 hearings and stuff like that. They drove a bus up on the yard. I explained it before. They drove a bus up on the yard and pointed out all the factors that they figured was affiliated. And I had so many blue rags and blue sweatsuits and stuff in my locker. I tried to ease my hand over there and close it when the lieutenant and them was walking through the dorm, right? It was too late, man. They seen that. Grab him, right? So we
Uh-huh.
got rolled up. A lot of us got rolled up. I go to Tuolumne. We opened up the ASSEG building. That's when Bam became my cellie, right? So we went through the
Uh-huh.
whole tour, but all the homies that was in the ASSEG chose me to be the tier tender because of my ability to communicate. It was like, let the homie do it. He got us. Fat Rat got us. Let him do it, right? Because they was choosing. They was like, Fat Rat, do that for us, homie. I'm like, I got y'all. So now you got to be kind of a liaison between the communication between the cops and us, right? So to make sure all the homies get their showers, they toilet paper, they, whatever they need, pass all the little get down between each other and all that. And that's me and Bam at that time when Bam left. But when Bam left, Lil James came to the hole, right? And he came in the cell with me, right?
Uh-huh.
And he, it's always, when you get in the cell, right? Cell living is always that top bunk, lower bunk conflict. It's always that, right?
Uh-huh.
This dude, you're a big dude. You walk in and he bigger than me. I had a little size on me, but I ain't like that, right? But I'm
Uh-huh.
like, what's up, man? How you been, man? Yada yada yada. And he's like, man, yeah, you was over there. You was in that riot, so we just start chopping it up, man, and building. And he, in the whole time that he was in the cell with me, he never mentioned being the founder of 11-8. He never said that. He just said who he used to run with. That was his whole conversation, man. I ran with Raymond and them, man. It was a regular conversation, but
Right.
um, so he got into it in school or something, and he was just intimidating, man, right? But he wasn't aggressive like that, right? He was really the kind of homie, like he humble, but when it's go time, it's automatic, right? That's a lot of going right there, right? Um, but he would tell me these stories, man, about how it was. I remember him telling me a story about how it was back in the early 70s hanging out with Raymond and them, and how it was more to him. It was like we was just like brothers, man, and we like to work out and be tough. You know what I mean?
Right,
It
right,
wasn't
right.
that he wasn't extra. It wasn't we went on a tour and we handled this business and this had to go down. He
No,
wasn't like
those guys didn't have to be tough. They didn't have to because you looked at them, you knew what it was.
right. Yeah. It was more so that, right? But just when you talk to him, man, he was such a humble person. until let me put a little mess on my brother, right? Until we was having a conversation one day, and this shout to Monster Ken from Harlem, man. I don't know where you at, what you doing. It's all love, but we had this situation, right? So he's talking about Monster, and he didn't know like Monster Cody. He was like, yeah, I heard stuff about Monster and all, but he's out there on the yard, and I don't think he's, all the stuff I heard about him. And I'm like, nah, Monster ain't on this yard right here. And he's like, nah, man, I just left him. I said, nah, that's you talking about Monster Ken. That's not Monster Cody. It's a difference, right? So I told him that, and in the course of, he only stayed with me for a couple of weeks, man. So it was just, we would do push-ups. You know what I mean? We would drink a little bit. He wouldn't drink much coffee. He might sip a little bit of coffee with me. I love the coffee, right? And we played pinochle a little bit, a little cards, a
Pinochle,
little
that's a
check.
favorite.
Yeah,
By
listen,
the
man.
way, everybody, pinochle was one of the favorite pastime if you're doing time. But go ahead, it's better than
Yeah,
spades.
yeah, and then that's all we did, man. And we chopped it up. We just, yeah, we talked about how to deal with, like, man, how women. He had opinions about how women are and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And he he had a literacy, like, I think he had a literacy issue, because he was like asking me different things, and I was like, man, well, this is what you need to do. Get on a program like this, man. Start just writing down, start with your A's, man, and write down 5 words a week and just memorize them, man. Develop your vocabulary, bro. That's all I do. Like, man, I like how you talk. He's like, I used to tell me, I like how you talk, man. Nobody really like. He would give me compliments on my diction, right?
Mhm.
Um, so we having this conversation about Monster Cody versus Monster Ken. And I'm not taking nothing from Monster Ken. He a rider, right? But he's not Monster Cody. I'm telling him, I'm saying it just like that. So when we he ended up going back to the yard. I forgot who was my celly after that. But when he went back to the yard that next day, it's a little door right there at Tuolumne's ass seg. It's a little door, and the yard is on the other side of the door. So you can hear somebody at the end of the door yelling, "Fat Rat in the door," right? So I go to the door. They like insane from insane is telling me somebody calling you, homie, and I'm like, I go to the door, and it's Monster Ken. He like, "Fat Rat, what's up, cuz?" I'm like, "What's up with you?" He like, "What you saying, cuz? What you saying about me in there?" I'm like, "What you talking about?" He like, "So I ain't all that and all that." I'm like, "What you talking about, Monster Ken, man?" He said, "Yeah, the homies." He said, "The homie tell me, you talk put like I ain't on some kind of level or something like that." And I told him, I said, "You talking about Lil James?" He said, "Yeah, cuz was just your celly." I'm like, "Yeah, you not Monster Cody, you Monster Ken." And I said, there's a difference in that. All right, cuz I ain't even I thought you was on some BS. I'm like, man, stop it, man. I said, so Lil James, you went out there to make a little mess on your brother, right? You know what I'm saying? He got a little messy because I think he was trying to, because Monster Ken was kind of swole too, you know what I mean? And it might have been that competition thing. I don't know what that was, man. But my memory of the brother, man, we just worked out. We chopped it up a little bit every day. He told a little bit of the history.
He'll be right back, guys. Usually when they blank out like that, it's because of a telephone call or something. But yeah, he'll be back. He on roll though. Yeah, yeah. So um, it's interesting that when you lose one of these guys, and they be having so much of that history be connected and tied to them, and then when they go, they take everything with them, you be wanting to capture it in its purest form, but for obvious reasons, our first, our first brothers, they didn't necessarily, uh how can I put it? They wasn't really like it wasn't until the CCO and the Blue Notes and all those guys became into the prison and started making it mandatory for writing book reports, having study time, reading and writing, that a lot of those brothers began to become educated. I think the CCO was probably some of the most educated brothers in the prison system. If you have to take in a total count of it. Let me see what's going on. Oh, there you go. I didn't even see you in there. I can't hear you.
There you go.
Hey,
Can you hear
there
me
you
now?
go. Hit your camera now.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, that's true what you're saying right there, man. I never had a problem with that structure, right? And then another part of that, like I told you before, man, Bam was the homie who confirmed for me that it was okay to be on my blackness while I was on my cripping, right?
Right.
Bam was the homie who really confirmed for me that's the right way to go, really. You know, what you're saying right there is really the right way to go, you know? And when I got that confirmation from Bam, I was already there, but I got the confirmation, and that just made it a little more solidified. Like, okay, that's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? I even got like a Kiswahili name. Bam gave me a Kiswahili name to work with. You know what I mean? And we talked a lot about like pulling your pants up and being a gentleman and how okay, we're gonna handle the business and the problems, right? But you ain't gotta look like a fool while you doing it. You know what I mean? It was revolutionary, man. Some of that stuff was revolutionary, man.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Probably the bulk of the problem between the blacks in prison and the Mexican mafia was how disrespectful black people can be towards them when they was actually showing them a lot of respect and like being courteous to them. They didn't. The Mexicans didn't necessarily, because it was mandatory for them to show you respect. They could not disrespect you, but a lot of brothers came into prison because they felt like they would. Oh, you can't tell me what to do. I ain't finna get up and I run my own program. I'm my own, you know, and all that. And it was just ignorance, bro. But correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead, take off on it.
I'm gonna tell you what's a trip, and I told this story about a week ago. All the while I was going through East Lake, all of the juvenile hall camps. Remember the juvenile camp, Scudder, Scott, Alpha Ball, and all that stuff. Rocky. When I was going through the camp system, all the while when I went through YA, man, listen, we never had no problem with no Mexicans, man. Like, that would have been like running into a Mack truck. The way we was in juvenile hall and YA and all that, man, come on, man. We didn't never have no problems with them. Never. Not one time. I can't recall it. They stayed to themselves.
Right.
And kept it like how we used to communicate with each other back in the 70s, right? When we was together, right? That's how they kept it with us. I didn't have no problem with the Mexicans until I got to prison. My first time in prison, 86, was Chino. We got into it. In fact, that's where I met the other twin, rest in peace. Twin and them had got into it with the Dahoodpostman, man, on the East Yard. They kind of lost it. Marcelli was Gino from Swamps. Gino clowning. Like, y'all niggas can't fight. Y'all got whooped. You know, that's all that, right? Tweety Bird was in there, rest in peace. You know, Tweety Bird was in there. Trey D was in there. We didn't call him Trey D. We called him Tracy Davis back then. That's the first time we had an issue with the Mexicans, man. We was already on lockdown, and when we came off of lockdown, Tweety Bird had loaded me and Gino up with a bunch of plastic. I took the plastic and melted it up and made some key suits for us, man, and we came out working. Me and Gino was like, damn, homie, how you learn how to do that? I said, it's just impulse, man. You know what I mean? I'm just clowning with him, right? But that was my first time actually getting into it with the Mexicans. And it was already something else that had happened that I didn't know what it transpired. It's just on with the Mexicans. That's all I knew. So everything that like up to that point preceded me. Like I didn't have like Jesse James and Bam and them tell a better story than like how it developed. I know they say when the Mexicans hit the homie from Great Slow Drag up in San Quentin, right? And unalived him, you went out. And unalived Slow Drag, rest in peace, man. That was the elevation, the escalation point. Like they did him dirty. Like that turned into an escalation point for us getting involved with a lot of activity with them. And then the Jamas had that ongoing feud with them. And it some kind of way I heard. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you say when they hit Slow Drag.
Yeah, they hit Slow Drag up in San Quentin and unalived him. And that was an escalation point for Crip involvement in dealing with them, right? In prison, right? Other places, it just spread. But as far as how it got started with them, I ain't the best person to tell that story. I would be ad-libbing from, information that I've extrapolated from other people, because in the origin of it, I wasn't there. I was in YA when that happened.
Right.
I was in YTS.
Right.
So yeah, I ain't the best person for that, but I do know that part of it, the escalation point was that, and the part where the Crips got into it because of the BGFs. It's another story in that where the BGFs was in it and the Crips got into it kind of in defense of something related to the BGFs, and then it just escalated from there. But then, let me say another thing. And that not to be all in nobody's business, but it's past the time, right? But when the CCOs talked about and the Blue Notes talked about this conflict, because there was a conflict in constitutional, like the way they structured their constitution, right? And that certain people had affiliations with the BGFs and all this different talk, right? And that there were similarities in contract in constitution, right? To what they had versus what the Jamas had. And how did y'all get that? And this dude's affiliated with the Jamas. There should always be some similarity when the people are similar. Follow me? If we're trying to regulate a black problem, right? As a Crip, a Blood, a BGF, a 415, there should be similarities because our problems are similar.
Right.
And the purpose of the Constitution is to regulate our problems and give us a structure to work from in dealing with our problems, that we move a certain way, right? And I never understood, like, why was there a conflict that we couldn't get over with that? Like, because there's a similarity. In my mind, there should be a similarity, right? Some homies say, man, it turned out to be these controlling hands, right? I mean, who the hell gonna come in here and control the Crips? I don't know nobody who gonna come control the Crips. I know, other than some other Crips, I don't know nobody who gonna run in and control no Crips that I know, right? So it was things I never really got a grasp on. Like I never got a rap on that kind of stuff.
And what bad as the BGF wanted to, it was gonna never happen.
Yeah.
They really wanted to, and that was the whole deal with them and the Crips, is that they wanted to have dominion and have control and have big say so, in the politics. When you can't necessarily do that when you got a bunch of rambunctious young men that's full of energy, waiting to release it some kind of way. You know what I mean? And right or wrong, that's just what was going to happen. And you're not going to be able to stand in the way of it, because it's like this. Mercurial is a person that's subject to a sudden, unpredictable change, mood, or mind, and temperament.
Right.
See, that's Mercurial. And that best describes, for me, the gang member himself, because they're very unpredictable. They're very emotional, and they have temperaments that just sometimes just skyrocket, go off the world, as far as aggression, violence, and willing to take it a lot further than most,
Right. That's,
grind together.
today I want to also acknowledge a couple of things. One, today is the official day for the commemoration of the Million Man March, the Holy Day of Atonement.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? 1995, man. We was in DC.
Yeah,
We
me and
up there,
Blue was talking about that earlier. Avalon, shout out to Avalon Blue, by the way.
Shout out to Avalon Blue, yeah. And we was there, man. And we were actually supposed to. Q-Bone went up there. Q-Bone from Father's Broadway. He went up there, but we were supposed to go up there with Bone. And I'm like, man, all of us want it. We ain't going up there. And Big Red from A. Trey Hoover. We was all supposed to go up there and talk, right? I'm like, I ain't going on no damn stage, and I'm wanted in the Fed, everybody watching, etc. But the mantra for the Holy Day of Atonement is atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility, right? And we took an oath at that time. It was a big verbal oath, right? I say your name, and then we'll no longer do a list of things, right? To offend the Black community, I'll go back and I'll create opportunities and practice peace. Those three principles, if you can pull them up, the 8 steps of atonement that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan unpacked, that's the solution to the gang problem, bro. Because I remember I kept saying, I got 3 things. I'm like, it's 3 things, man. We need to do this, and then we need to first.
Yeah, I wish I'd have been better prepared. I definitely would have listed 8 steps of atonement.
It's if we could put it up somewhere on a bulletin board, just so people can draw it down. We're mentioning it. It's on YouTube. You can just YouTube it. You can go on Google and Google the 8 steps of atonement by Minister Farrakhan, and it's going to pop up. Get those 8 steps of atonement, man, and try to start practicing it. We don't know how to communicate through our emotions. Like you just said, we're dealing with an emotionally unintelligent emotion.
Yeah. I think G-Mac, I think that the BGF had the right idea. They just didn't have the right vehicle to drive it home with the Crips and Bloods, because the Crips and Bloods was a different animal. And the way they was trying to serve them on the information side, in other words, you got to take baby steps with these people, because they're coming from an environment of gang banging, not structured, not where they follow a regiment, or so to speak, right? These guys are just everywhere. So when the BCF tried to push their initiative on them and show them a different way versus gang banging, these guys was rejecting it, bro. They didn't want to hear it. They was like, I'm on such and such and such and such, and you know what I mean? From the east to the west and Compton, wherever it seemed to be.
Right.
Lock the goddamn door and say no more. That's just the way they was with it. You know what I mean? That's how they was, bro.
That's true. That's not a good thing, though.
No.
Because when you lock that door, you lock people out of the door that need to be in
but
the
that's
door.
Just what the mindset. I'm not saying that it was correct. I'm just telling you what the mindset was. You know what I mean? And then as you guys evolve in there, like Bam said, you guys begin to do book reports, you guys begin to do study time, you guys begin to take Swahili, take on Black, now, because Black culture was never taught in the public school system, first and foremost.
No.
So you getting a version of Black history that it was like, wow, for real?
Yeah.
My people did this. My people did that.
Yeah.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Now the interest is there, but the BGF initially try to just shove it down their throats, and you can't do it that way.
Yeah, it's a lot of controversy in that, right?
Yeah.
But
see, because one thing I know, Fat Rap, that one of the key elements of prison is The ability is information, intelligence gathering, and propaganda.
Right.
If you're not aware of that, you know, 8 steps of atonement is common sense. The problem has always been common sense, isn't? But okay, but give us the 8 steps if you can, Mac.
Yeah, go pull them down and post,
Pull up the
copy
8
and paste them.
steps and put the 8 steps up so people can see what the 8 steps are.
I can't do it because I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 steps of
Anybody
atonement.
can pull up the 8 steps of
telling you,
atonement and drop it in the chat.
that's a remedy. If we
Yes.
want to like a structured remedy, right? That's well thought out and kind of easy to practice, right? Atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility, right? It can start. We got to get something, like I said, we got to get something that resounds, that reverberates, right?
Uh-huh.
That we put the sound out and it just keeps traveling, right? I
Uh-huh.
wanted to drop something else on you too, because I heard something on the news today, man. And I didn't get it clearly, but I caught the concept of what the newscaster was saying. It was a white guy, I couldn't see him, but he was he was in politics.
Uh-huh.
And he basically in summation said, we've been giving them, he was addressing like that, you know, the different programs that come with the DEI, right? Which is, I guess, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right?
I have no idea what they're talking about because that ain't never came across my table.
No,
You know.
that's the new thing. That's the new.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, they're trying to make it seem like it like we all got, you know, this diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're trying to make it seem like we all came through that way. That's not true.
I think they're just rebranding the, what was they called? What was I forgot the name of it. The Civil Rights Act.
Affirmative.
Affirmative action. They're
Uh-huh.
rebranding affirmative action. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the same people are pushing the same agenda. You know, the Roland Martins of the world, and you know, Mama Maxie and all of these people, the Lockett sister and all, they're all pushing for the DEI. But the DEI is really just, you know, a re-rock
Affirmative
of
action.
affirmative action. Right? But what I heard the dude say, right? He said, we've been giving them, referring to black people, right? All of the help they needed, including DEI, for 60 years. Dang, how long does it take? And there
Shout
was
out
a
to Slick from
sound
the ABD show. Good to see you out, Slick.
But did you catch that?
Yes.
So in other words, because not when he's saying it, but there's a room, like a census in the room, like there's consensus on that point. Like they all agree that, yeah, what do we gotta keep giving them help for when we helped them for 60 years with this Civil Rights Act, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's why, and my first thought that came to me was we have to start talking about reparations again. Because the scope of the mission was the 40 acres and a mule was for to give a man something to thrive with and to repair and to heal with, right? A man can't repair himself with nothing. So you need certain, you know, the scope of, and the minister addressed that too when we was in Atlanta, man. He talked about add it up. He has a lecture called Add It Up. If you want to talk about what y'all really owe us, right, for what you did to us, add it up. But if they start, you know, this is the Trump era. This is the white line. Remember that song, White Line?
Yeah.
That's what Trump is pushing. He pushing a white line, right? So I thought it would be intelligent for us on social media to try to get our own consensus to counter that, to say we can prove at no limited time that the black community and the black man is in disrepair, in need of repair, right? Reparations is repair. We need the means to repair and to heal, right?
Uh-huh.
But if we let them start talking like we did everything we needed to do for you, right? Well, why are we in disrepair if you did everything you needed to do? You're not even acknowledging that we need to be repaired. But you always, so you just came on and you said all of these bad, like how they describe us in the media, in the news, right? We're doing all of these crazy emotional. This is the evidence of a man in disrepair. Most in need of repair. You're making our case for us.
Well, first and foremost, we got to stop as a people confusing attention with success. First and foremost, there's a lot of people that gather a lot of attention, and they conclude that they successful just because they get a lot of attention, either on the internet, social media, wherever they get it, right? Secondly, last night I went on Fox News in New York.
Oh, wow.
And the white lady, Lisa Evers, was interviewing, and she started talking about, there's a lot of young black kids murdering each other, you know what I mean? And they're basically coming from single parent homes. So I heard her and I said, wait a minute, okay. I say, so who's responsible for all these mass shooters? Because if the single black woman responsible for thugs, then who's responsible for the mass shooters?
Right.
There's white women. They born mass shooters.
Right.
So let's not confuse what we're doing here, because just because they're in suburbia or whatever, the crimes that they commit is far more superior or heinous than that of a person that's shooting one person. And I'm not trying to justify it. It's not a tit for tat thing, but if we're gonna be pointing fingers, let's point them in all directions.
That's true. Did she send you the commercial? Did they say go to commercial?
Yeah.
Afraid of the truth, but you asking for it though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm clever enough to know what she, because I'm sitting there smiling the whole time you said it. And then that's when I dropped it. Well,
Right.
who's responsible? Who birthed all the mass shooters? I gave it to her to see what her answer would be, because there's only obvious one answer is the white woman.
Come on now. Come on now.
So
yeah, we got our bloodshed training from y'all. Thank you.
Yeah.
We wasn't like that at first.
Yeah, so yeah.
Y'all now we
it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have known you was going on there, man. I would have wanted to see that, man.
Well, it's gonna air in 2 weeks. It's one of those things.
Yeah. Recording.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Let me know. I want to see that, man. I know you handle yourself like a boss, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Hey, speaking of
and then
bosses,
I got her with this one too. I said, well, what's the toughest hood in the world? And she said, well, I think it's one of the New York, it's one of the boroughs. They're really tough down there. And she got the name of Chicago. And I said, is that it? She said, yeah. I said, well, let me help you. Let me correct you. I said, Parenthood.
Come on now. Come on now.
That's the toughest hood in the world, is Parenthood.
Yeah, you murked her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got like that. They might not air you, man. They might censor you. Then you come on there. They got AI technology, man. They gonna make you say some stuff.
Let me see, Mac. It's about correction, but it starts with individuals. Most individuals don't even believe or know. I'm trying to get your question. Hold on, because I got different stuff going on here. Let's see. I think I lost it. Believe and know that they correction first, and absolutely everyone starts first. But I get it, bro. I get it. I mean, you're right. I mean, there has to be correction, accountability, acknowledging, So how about this? Let's become culture responsible and have culture competence. Let's become that, and be about our culture, because there's so much social conditioning that exists within the Black culture, because even as now, as I watch, when we switched the conversation from talking about prison and beating people up and all that stuff and gang stuff, the numbers did like this.
That's crazy.
They went way down
That's crazy.
because we started talking about Black issues. We start being cultural awareness and cultural confidence. We start talking about the culture and being, talking about atonement and stuff, man. People ran out the internet.
Yeah.
Hey, it went down to 8 people, and we had over 68, 69 people in it. It went down to 8 people, then it built back up because then there's other individuals that like-minded that say, okay, let's hear this out, But I'm telling you,
I told him on my page today, I said, I can't apologize for that.
yeah,
you're looking for that, just go on and leave, because I'm gonna keep doing it because
right,
my purpose for doing it is real, right? I'm sincere.
right,
I'm here
right,
to elevate. That's it,
right.
But I want to say this too, because man, we was in that game, man. And you and Malik, man, y'all so terrible. Y'all talking about what y'all leave on the cook and all. I'm like, y'all burnt out. I'm like, do these brothers hear what they saying?
Yeah.
Me and my boy, man, his name is Beans, man, Charles Turner, man. He just went and did 10 in the feds. He did a 10 in the feds. He got out about 6 years ago. Right? He walked off the dime. They caught him with, a couple of tickets and a little bit of work and whatnot, right? And he went in there and he started working out, studying. When he went in there, he had diabetes. But he got in there and got on a regimen of working out and getting it in and studying, right? And he got kind of crispy. And I went and took his children and moved them in the house with me down in Houston, right? Because he, so that they could have some, some guidance and some structure, right? So he got out, man. And he was like, Unc, I can't even thank you, long for it. And I said, man, you don't owe me nothing for that. That's family, right? So what you gonna do, man? He's like, man, this is a God whistle. This is a dog whistle. This is a low whistle, right? I'm like, what you gonna do, man? He's like, man, I'm gonna get back in for a minute so I can get my children situated. I'm like, you gonna get back in the, nah, don't do that, man. You ain't gotta do that. You got all these skills. Went in there and learned all this different stuff and go on and apply some of this. Let's work together and I tried to talk him out of it, but he wasn't trying to hear it because I got to get my children together and get my children situated. Right?
And
I told him this, but I understand because when you study the Kennedy family, right? And how they got to be so rich on the great grandfather and his trafficking the booze and all that, right? And now his children, are world leaders, so to speak, right? And he was grimy. He was grimy. He was in the game. He was grimy, right? And he's not an exception.
Joe Kennedy is who you're talking about.
Yeah, Joe. He wasn't no exception. You go to the Rothschild family and find out all the dirt they did.
Right.
To make it.
They all have corruption. They all had corruption. They all was dirty. They all was doing. They murdered. They robbed. They steal.
And I understood him from that vantage point, right? But I still tried to talk him out of it because I said, ultimately, what you know right now, none of them knew. They didn't know what you know right now. And you're only accountable for what you know, bro. So I don't see that going good for you if you do that because you know better. And I told him that, man. I was like, I got to leave it at that, man. And next thing I know, he all the way hands and feet back in. But the babies, they done went to college playing professional football and all that, right? They got in, right? But he laid up in the hospital. I just went to go see him about a month ago, man.
Wow.
Stretched out and on air, breathing on life support.
Wow.
Right? And that his son called me the other day and said, man, he's saying he's responding when you say his name. And the first thought I had was, when you're in a situation like that, usually when you show some semblance of recovery, you go out after that. I don't know what that is. Every time I hear about that, oh, he's doing better, and then the next thing you know, he out of here. Right? So my message to that's my goon, man, my number one goon, man, in my crime family, man. Big Beans, man, out of Ohio, man. Shout to
Right
him and
on,
his
man.
family, man.
Shout out to him, man. Let
Yeah,
me ask you this:
yeah.
level 4 prison. What are the 5 things that you, when you enter that level 4, that should be priority to you? If there's a 5 thing, if maybe it's 2 or 3, I don't know. What What's your thoughts?
You gotta get orientation. The number one thing is you gotta get orientation. You gotta
And
get
what does that
somebody that
mean?
sits you down and lets you know everything that's going on in here right now. Let me know right now what the situation is, right? Number 2, you gotta have access to your heater, right?
How
Number
quickly
3,
should you build that heater?
if you don't have, if you in the right kind of force, somebody will give you that
Okay.
or give you access to it.
Uh-huh.
But you gotta have access to that, man, because I don't care how good you can fight, right? You never know what's coming. So you got to be prepared in that way, man. So the first thing you need is orientation. Somebody got to let you know the lay of the land. Then you got to get your heater, right? And then you just plug in. Find your circle. I would say them is the top 3 things you got to find, because everything in a 4 is about safety, man. It's safety first on the 4.
When you guys catch somebody come in and they claim to be a Crip, we'll use that because we come from that perspective, right?
Right.
And they're not necessarily adhering to the orientation or listening to Get Your Heater or finding their circle. They're standing outside the circle being very defiant. What happened to those individuals?
Well, somebody gonna knock him down. It's just he gonna get knocked down and moved off of that yard. Liability.
It's a liability.
You become a liability instantly. You can notice a liability from 100 miles away, man. It's really clear. It's a system here. You didn't make the system. There's a program here. You didn't design the program, right? And you could come in here and try to buck the program, but everybody in here is with the, pretty much with the business. You ain't the only one, right? If you're strong enough, change the laws.
So it's the ecosystem. We got an
If you that
ecosystem.
strong, change it. Make it suit your interests. I ain't seen too many people that strong though. Now remember the type of people you talking about that are on a level 4 yard, man. It's no nonsense, man. I only been one time, man. My only time, and that was when we stopped over in Quentin. Well, 2, Corcoran and San Quentin. And Corcoran was a violator. That wasn't even really an actual 4 activity. We was moving through that, but Quentin was, immediately. Because there's so much going on, man, like that is endangering. You know what I mean? You don't want to, it's like walking into a damn zoo. You know what I mean? You walk into the zoo, man, what kind of animal are you? Right? You don't want to be over here with the hyenas if you're a lion.
I was interviewing Suma, and he mentioned some about animals, and I asked him, "Well, what kind of animal were you?" I caught him off guard with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Suma. Who is Suma?
that's light bulb in general, CCO.
Oh, wow. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mispronounced that in my head.
Yeah, Suma.
I got you. Yeah. Immediately, you got to, it's dangerous when you let the animals out cages, man.
Yeah.
And That's the mentality, unfortunately.
Right.
First,
Right.
there's another side to that becomes, you know, that could be an actual structure that you could build with. But that first part is your safety, man. You know, I got to get lined up on what's happening, man. You know.
Well, shoot, man, we got another one in. Let's reconvene, man, next Thursday, man.
Where's
We'll keep it
Malik
going.
at?
I didn't hit him up. I felt like we gonna do something that was off topic for him,
Oh
but
yeah,
you know
the Lil James, man.
we'll bring him back in. Of course, that's my guy. Don't worry. But
Well, if they need it, man, next time I can tell some prison and gang stories if they need them.
that's what they want. That's what they want. So be prepared.
We'll venture off into a little bit of that, man. You know what I mean? You got to get the
Okay.
people what they want, man.
Fat Rat Evolved, man. Y'all go follow him, man. Tell him where to follow you at.
Follow me at Fat Rat, one word, -evolved on YouTube.
There it is there, man. Peace and blessings, Aki. Enjoy your day.
Bro, you stay safe, man.
Likewise.
All right.
We had another exciting one. I appreciate each and every. You know, as I like to say, we build in the airplane while we fly it. Often shout out to Marlena Williams for taking this trip with us. Shout out to everybody else that was in the chat. I appreciate each and every last one of you. All of you are incredibly amazing and extraordinary individuals. Come in and listen to me ramble. But anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. But don't mind me just watching. Church moving, but go ahead and lock that door.
Cali Finders, baby. Proof of grind all the time. Music money. Got a dollar sign. Hub City. I'm a street nigga. Streets fuck with me. I'ma keep pushing products till the fans get me. It's guap off top. Diamond Cartier. That nigga wall won't give a broke bitch the time of day. They see me climbing. They see me shining. That's hard work. Proof of grinding. New money got me tipping in that 550. Ali, bad man, and I'm so pretty. I got that tech with me. That's my hater sprayer. Go big, grind now, nigga, play later. What can I say? I'm addicted to this paper stacking. And I don't talk about it. I just make it happen. Word on the block is that my shit go. Reach for the low.
Lock the door, because we are gone.